When I began this project in the 1970s, Montgomery was not considered an acceptable person for an academic to work on. And it has been a great surprise to me to find myself here, and I'm very grateful to the British Columbia Foundation and every person who does a book which goes over as long a period as mine has, which is from the 1970s, has had a lot of good help along the way. And some of my good help is sitting at my table, either in person or representing someone else. And I just want to call out a few people. Doug Killam was the chair of our department at the point that I started working on Ella Montgomery, and nobody thought Ella Montgomery was worth working on, and he supported me. And the dean supported me, and that was wonderful. That got me started. Next, I want to call attention to my two grandchildren, Zach and Zoe Siddall, who are standing in for their father, who was an undergraduate then. Zach and Zoe hadn't even been thought of or dreamed of, and their father was a wonderful researcher who chased down all the story of Ella Montgomery's publishing history. He went after Roger Strauss and found all the old 90-year-olds in Boston and New York, and we went down and interviewed them, all the people who had known Elsie Page, who I hope in my biography is immortalized as one of the worst scumbags in the publishing history there ever was. I really had fun with him, and he's dead and he left no descendants, so I wasn't worried about lawsuits. And then there is my daughter Tracy, who did a lot of number crunching when she was in university on Ella Montgomery's finances. And then we turned it over to analysts who worked out charts and did a lot of work there. And last, I want to call attention to my younger daughter, Jenny, who has done a wonderful, it's nice having an in-house editor. Doubleday gave the manuscript back to me and said, it would really be nice if you cut it down by about 25%. After working on something for the number of years that I have worked on something, this was not good news, and I felt like slitting my wrists. And Jenny said, Mom, you've got to do it. I listened to Jenny because she'd been an editor at Cambridge University Press in London, in Cambridge, and was now working in the publishing field in Canada. And she took my disc files and she said, I'll go through them and I'll redline everything that I think can go. And she redlined all the paragraphs that I had spent a whole afternoon writing one paragraph, and took out many sentences that I thought were very, very important or clever. And at the end of it, Doubleday was much happier, and I was happy too, because she was right. And it's awful when you have to say that about your children, that they are right. But at any rate, so I also had wonderful help from Dr. Elizabeth Waterston, who I've dedicated the book to along with my two daughters. Dr. Waterston couldn't be here, but I edited the Ella Montgomery journals with her, and she has been just a wonderful person to work with. She's also done a companion book called The Magic Island, which goes along with my biography. Now, if I have do I have any more time? Yeah, okay, a little bit. I'll tell you about one. I've had many research experiences, but one of the interesting ones, in the late 70s, I started working on Montgomery. In 1984, we went to Poland, and that was the time of solidarity, and people were turning up floating in the river in Warsaw. It was not a very happy time to go to Poland, but we were over giving papers at a conference in Europe, so we went on. First, we went to Warsaw and saw a production of Anne of Green Gables. It was wonderful. Aside from the fact that they changed Scottish Presbyterianism into Catholicism. But they, at the first intermission, they made the mistake of introducing or saying that there were people representing Ella Montgomery from Canada. Someone came out from the front, and all of a sudden, we were just absolutely inundated. People, children and adults, jumped over seats behind us. They jumped over seats in front of us. They crowded in from this. And it was well over 20 minutes before the production could start again because they wanted to have their program signed. Well, that was rather surprising. We hadn't known that Montgomery was that popular in Poland. So we went on to Krakow and saw a command performance of her Blue Castle, which had been made into a Polish musical. It was had a political subtext, and we had the same experience of being inundated there. And then we had the 5-hour drive back to Warsaw. We stopped halfway in between to get something to eat at one of the few roadhouses there were. We noticed as we drove along, Poland was so poor then. There were very gaunt men with very gaunt horses working in the fields. Anyway, we stopped at this roadhouse, and the embassy translator took us in and said, we want to have, some lunch. And there was a lot of excited talk in Polish, which I later found out what it was. And the gist of it was, we don't have any food. We can't afford to keep food in the restaurant. But you can have water, you can have coffee, or you can have vodka. Well, that wasn't the kind of lunch that we wanted, and we certainly didn't want our driver to have it. But at any rate, there was some more excited talk, and the little waitress suddenly said, Anya, 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 and she ran back to the kitchen. There were doors slamming, and in about 20 minutes, we had the most wonderful set of foods put in front of us. They had been gathered up from all the houses around. So that's what Lucy Maud Montgomery means to the Poles. Then I fast forward a bit, come back to Canada. I'm at the Learneds. I have heard that one of the publishers is going to put out a series of biographies. So I go up to this publisher rather timidly and say, would you be interested in one on Lucy Maud Montgomery? He pulled himself up and he looked down his nose at me and he said, we are only doing important writers. She is not a real writer. So sometimes things like that galvanize you a bit. And I won't name that publisher. He is still around, and I hope he sees that my book has been nominated out here. So thank you very much.